We still have no full understanding of how she met her death. But I would like to say, I would like the full support of you all to help me get justice.
On a cool March night in 2011, a young woman left a nightclub in Swindon after an evening out with friends. She was walking home, a short journey she had done many times before, but this time she never arrived. Her name was Sian O'Callaghan. What began as a missing persons case quickly became one of the most shocking murder investigations in modern British history. One that would expose a serial predator hiding in plain sight. Welcome to the Crime Documentary. Sian O'Callaghan was just 22 years old. Born in Swindon in 1989, she was described by family and friends as kind, full of energy, and deeply loved. She lived with her boyfriend, Kevin Reap, and worked as an office administrator. Like many women her age, she enjoyed music, nights out with friends, and spending time with loved ones. To those who knew her, she was the type of person who could light up a room with her smile. On the 18th of March 2011, Sian went out with friends to Suju, a popular nightclub in Swindon. It was a Friday night, and the atmosphere was buzzing. She arrived with friends, ready for a fun evening. Throughout the night, witnesses recalled seeing Sian dancing, laughing, and enjoying herself. But in the early hours of March 19th, as the club began to empty, Sian made a decision that would change everything. At around 2:45 a.m., Sian told her friends she was leaving. Her boyfriend, Kevin, was at their home just a short walk away, about half a mile from the club. CCTV cameras captured her leaving the nightclub alone, walking into the night. She sent Kevin a text message, "On my way back." It was the last message she would ever send. Kevin waited for her to come home. It was a short walk, one she had done many times before. But as the minutes passed, then hours, Sian never arrived. By the next morning, her phone went straight to voicemail. Kevin grew increasingly anxious and contacted her family. Soon after, the police were informed. What initially seemed like a late return from a night out would quickly escalate into something far more sinister. Police wasted no time. Sian's disappearance was entirely out of character. She had no history of going missing, no reason to vanish. Her family made emotional appeals, and soon her face was plastered across newspapers, television screens, and social media. The entire community of Swindon joined in the search. Detectives turned to technology. They traced signals from Sian's mobile phone, which had been active until shortly after she left the nightclub. The phone pinged off a cell tower near the Savernake Forest, a remote wooded area 12 miles from Swindon. This discovery immediately shifted the case. Why would Sian's phone end up so far away from her intended route home? The search was no longer confined to Swindon streets. Now investigators were looking in the dark depths of a forest. With Sian's phone found in a distant rural area, detectives began working on a chilling theory. Had she accepted a lift from a stranger? Or possibly from a taxi driver she thought she could trust? Police began questioning local cab drivers, pulling CCTV from surrounding roads and checking vehicle movements. It was during these early inquiries that one man, Christopher Halliwell, first appeared on their radar. What began as a missing persons case was now rapidly transforming into a suspected abduction. The town of Swindon, normally quiet, was gripped by fear. Families locked their doors, women avoided walking home at night, and rumors swirled about a predator on the loose. No one yet knew that the investigation was about to uncover not just one crime, but the horrifying secrets of a serial killer. Sian O'Callaghan's disappearance was the beginning of a story that would expose shocking failures. A career-destroying controversy for one of Britain's top detectives, and the hunt for a killer who may have claimed more lives than anyone imagined. In the next part, we dive deeper into the investigation and the chilling clues that led police straight to the man who would later be unmasked as a serial predator. Detectives treated Sian O'Callaghan's disappearance with urgency. With her phone traced near the vast Savernake forest, investigators suspected she may have been abducted. Specialist search teams scoured the area, combing through woodland, lakes, and rural tracks. Helicopters circled above, while police dogs worked tirelessly on the ground. The community held its breath. But what made this case even more urgent was the feeling that time was running out. If Sian had been taken alive, she might still be out there, waiting for rescue. Police began to piece together the final hours of Sian's night out. CCTV showed her leaving the nightclub around 2:45 a.m., walking briskly. Her route home should have been short and well lit. But somewhere along the way, she vanished. Taxi drivers became a focus. Investigators pulled records of who was working that night. Among the names was a man who had been driving in the area, Christopher Halliwell. Police set up surveillance traps by monitoring mobile signals near the forest. Any driver who had been in the area that night would likely leave digital footprints. When they matched patterns of movement with phone records, Christopher Halliwell's name appeared again. Detectives now had a suspect. By now, Swindon was in shock. Sian's face was everywhere. Posters, TV appeals, social media. Her mother made an emotional plea for her safe return. Police pressed on, but behind closed doors, they feared the worst. What no one realized yet was that Halliwell had a chilling secret, and this investigation was about to uncover far more than one murder. Detectives monitored Halliwell closely. He was 47, a father and a taxi driver. On the surface, an ordinary man, but beneath that mask was a calculating predator. Investigators noticed inconsistencies in his taxi log and suspicious movements in the early hours of March 19th. Surveillance teams followed him carefully, waiting for the right moment to strike. On March 24, 2011, 5 days after Sian vanished, police made their move. Halliwell was stopped on his way to work. Calm, almost cold, he was taken into custody. At the heart of the case was Detective Superintendent Steve Wiltshire. He believed Halliwell was the key not only to finding Sian, but possibly to preventing further murders. But what Wiltshire did next, breaking police protocol, would change his life forever. Halliwell wasn't just a suspect. He was about to lead police to horrifying discoveries, but at a devastating cost to the detective in charge. After Halliwell's arrest, Wiltshire took an extraordinary step. Instead of immediately bringing him to a police station, he drove him to a remote location. Wiltshire wanted answers, fast. He needed to know where Sian was. What happened next became one of the most controversial interrogations in British legal history. Under pressure, Halliwell broke. He told Wiltshire he could take him to Sian. Police were led to Uffington, near the White Horse landmark, where Sian's body was hidden in a shallow grave. But then, chillingly, Halliwell said something that shocked everyone. "Would you like another one?" Halliwell confessed to killing another woman. Years earlier, he said her body was buried elsewhere. This second confession would open an entirely new investigation, exposing Halliwell as not just the murderer, but a serial killer. This breakthrough solved Sian's case, but unleashed a storm of controversy over Wiltshire's methods and the discovery of a forgotten victim. Halliwell's second confession led police to a remote field in East Leach, Gloucestershire. There, they unearthed the skeletal remains of a young woman. She was later identified as Becky Godden-Edwards, a 20-year-old sex worker who vanished in 2003. Her family had lived with unanswered questions for years. Now, the truth was emerging. To his family, Halliwell was a father and partner. To the world, he appeared ordinary. But secretly, he harbored violent urges. He collected weapons, built secret murder kits, and stalked vulnerable women. Police now believed he may have killed others, victims never connected to him. 2 women, 2 lives stolen, but Halliwell's crimes may have stretched even further back. Was he hiding more victims? While Halliwell's crimes horrified the public, another storm brewed. Detective Steve Wiltshire, the man who got Halliwell's confession, was accused of breaching protocol. By questioning Halliwell outside of a police station without legal representation, Wiltshire had broken strict interview rules. Though his methods found Sian and Becky, the legal system now turned on him. Incredibly, Wiltshire was disciplined, his career destroyed, while Halliwell's defense tried to suppress his confession. The families of Sian and Becky were devastated. Wiltshire had given them answers, yet he paid the price. The controversy overshadowed the case, but justice for Sian and Becky was still within reach. In 2012, Halliwell was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of Sian O'Callaghan. But Becky Godden's case remained complicated due to the legal fallout from Wiltshire's methods. Years later, after a long legal battle, Halliwell was finally convicted of Becky's murder too. He was sentenced to a whole life order, meaning he would never be released. The families of both victims finally saw justice, yet the pain never left them. For them, Halliwell's punishment could never undo their loss. Justice had been served, but the question remained, were Sian and Becky Halliwell's only victims? Halliwell is suspected of being responsible for more killings. Police discovered he had a pattern of targeting vulnerable women across decades. His meticulous behavior suggested other victims may exist. To this day, detectives continue to review cold cases with possible links to Halliwell. Sian's murder changed policing forever. It exposed the flaws in the justice system, the struggles between law and morality, and left behind a legacy of grief. But also, determination to protect others. 2 young women, full of life, taken too soon. A detective who sacrificed his career to bring answers. And a killer who will spend the rest of his life behind bars. This is the story of Sian O'Callaghan, Becky Godden, and the predator who thought he would never be caught. Like and subscribe for more real crime stories, turn on notifications, because the next case might be even darker.